and be like, oh my god, it's Winnie the Pooh!
Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do?
We run fast for 90 years old. Hello, welcome to the first 100, our bi-weekly review of a book selected by us here at Friends of the Library, suggested by you, our viewer, or pulled out of a random hat. This week, inspired by my recent vacation to New York City, I went and visited the Winnie the Pooh exhibit in the Children's Center, where you can also send him a birthday card because Winnie the Pooh turns 90 on August 21st. Yay, Winnie the Pooh! And so I decided, what better way to celebrate Winnie the Pooh and his 90 years with our first 100 and the 100-acre woods, match made in heaven, by reading The Tao of Pooh. We've all seen this book. We've all heard of this book. This book was published in 1982. It's older than I am. Can you guess my age? But nobody's read it. Everybody says, oh, The Tao of Pooh, I'm gonna read that one day. But have you really read it? No. I haven't read it. This has sat on my bookshelf for 20 years and I haven't read it. But today, that ends, because I have read the first 100, because if you can read the first 100, you can get to the end of the book. And we're going to start off our review with a quote. And this quote is, the important thing is, we don't really need to know. Don't really need to know. So do we not need to know about this review? Do we not need to know about life and everything that is? Our author would say no, because Taoism says, keep things simple. Concepts of effortless doing, being open, unburdened by experience, the uncarved box, all very deep philosophical constructs. And who better to tell us about that and to live life as an example is Winnie the Pooh, because after all, the point of this book is that Winnie the Pooh is the perfect example of how we should live. Even though Winnie the Pooh is the most awesomest bear in the entire world, having been translated into at least 25 different languages, recognized across the world. Horrible, horrible book. I love The House on Pooh Corner. And when you read it as an adult, you realize Eeyore's kind of a jerk. Rabbit thinks he knows everything, and this was not written for children. Lots of adult concepts in here. Lots of growing up. This book? I took forever to read the first 100 pages of this. Do you know why? Because you have to reread the first 100 pages of this. I'm not entirely sure that I buy the argument that Winnie the Pooh is a Taoist. Like, wouldn't that require some kind of decision-making on Winnie the Pooh's part? The language is traditional Winnie the Pooh. So we have the Winnie the Pooh stories taken straight out of the House of Pooh Corner, or the other pre-published 1928 Winnie the Pooh books. And then we have our author, Benjamin Hoff, kind of writing in the same style of Pooh. But sometimes he talks to Pooh. And sometimes he talks to somebody else, and you're not really sure who he's talking to. Is he talking to you? Is he talking to Winnie the Pooh? Why is he talking to Winnie the Pooh? When did Pooh get there? I'm not really quite sure. Is this like in this book, where Pooh's just always around? And does Pooh know he's a Taoist? Because Pooh seems like he knows he's a Taoist, but then when you're reading the stories, it seems like he did it by accident. Now, I might be wrong. There might be people out there who love this philosophical idea that Pooh represents the perfect person. But Pooh lives in the 100-acre woods. Somebody, gets stuck in a tree. That's his biggest problem. If my life was I love honey, this is a good book. But I'm not sure how I can take this idea of being open and unburdened by experience when it's our experiences that shape us, and follow the example of Winnie the Pooh. So maybe my problem is more with Taoism than it is with Winnie the Pooh. Possibly, but I might not understand it. And feel free to give me comments that would help me to understand this better. Because right now, I'm just As far as a rating, on a scale, 15 to negative 15, because you should have as many points for and against, I would give this book a 0. An equal, neutral, round, why 0, you asked, Jacqui? It seems like you really didn't like it. Well, here's why. I really like it sitting next to my other Winnie the Pooh book. I really like it sitting in my collection of Winnie the Pooh books on my shelf. I like the idea that somebody could take Pooh and make him represent something more. but I also hate it. It's like those books when I walk in the philosophy section and I'm looking for like full call and I get the philosophy of the Simpsons. Like, really? The philosophy of the Simpsons? I'm insulted that somebody took time to write that book, let alone would actually take time to read that book. Right? And this, even though it says the Tao of Pooh, even though it was published in 1982, is exactly like those books. We are taking a media figure and we're trying to make it something deeper than what the author even made it. And for that, I don't know. I can't do it. On the other hand, Pooh Bear, awesome. So that concludes our third episode of the First 100, brought to you by Friends of the Library, a local nonprofit that supports libraries and all that they do. Join us next time where we review a book that doesn't try to explain to us the Eastern philosophies of being a better person. Thank you, and signing out, I'm Jacqui.